Hello, everyone, and welcome to our special session, Breaking Barriers, Building Bridges, Women at the Forefront of AI. This event is organized by Ifan, the International Federation of Standard Users, in celebration of International Women's Day. AI is undeniably one of the most talked about topics globally. Its rapid evolution impacts nearly every aspect of our life, from work to shopping to government decision-making. Today, we're privileged to have two exceptional women who share a passion for AI, despite coming from diverse backgrounds. We have with us Shira Weinberg Harel. Shira is a seasoned AI and product expert with over 20 years in tech, including 14 years at Microsoft. She co-founded Lead With, a nonprofit promoting women in the tech and actively advocates for gender equality. Currently, she runs a product management school and helps organizations leverage AI effectively. And we have with us Marta Janczarski. Marta is a National Standard Officer at Microsoft Ireland. Marta is an accomplished speaker and subject matter expert in data and AI governance, standards, and innovations. She holds extensive experience in corporate and government affairs, leading strategies for emerging technologies. Marta was involved in the development of recently published ISO IEC 42001 AI Management System Standards. So we are going to begin. Let's begin with Shira.
Hey, great to be here.
Great to have you here, Shira. So what is gender bias in AI? What does it actually mean?
So technology and AI particularly have many biases that they actually learn from us. So for example, if I ask an image generation tool like Midjourney to create an image of a personal assistant, all the images I'll receive are images of women. And it's even deeper. So if I ask for a male personal assistant, I will get men, but they will be more professional and less sexy than the women that I'll get from Midjourney. If I ask for images of drivers, I'll get only images of men. And the same thing happens with ChatGPT, for example. If I ask ChatGPT to write a story about a receptionist at an office, it will be a story about a woman. And in some cases, it will even include her boss, and it will be a man. So these biases are everywhere once we look a bit deeper into it.
What's the reason for that bias?
So the way that AI works is that it learns from huge amounts of data. And that's data that we create, data that comes from humans. So since we as humans have a lot of biases and our data is biased, then the AI learns these biases from us. And it makes them even worse because it really learns from them. So it becomes a real problem. If we think about it, there's another example I have in mind. I also teach kids how to use AI tools sometimes. And for one of the workshops, I tried to create an image of a superhero for a kids workshop. That's the prompt that I used and asked the image generation tool to create that. And I only got images of boys. So boy superheroes from all the platforms that I tried, unless I asked specifically for a girl. Now, if I was a teacher working on a session for my class, I would definitely include both genders because I want to make sure that it's balanced. But the AI doesn't do that because there's no human to balance that. And then eventually we use those results from AI and we keep rolling those biases even further.
So what can we do? What can we do to improve the situation?
So there are a lot of things that we can do, both as AI users and as AI creators. So as users, and all of us are probably AI users by now, we need to first remember that a result that's provided by AI is not always correct. And we're used to think that when a computer says something, that then it's correct. It used to be like that. But today we need to learn and remember that AI is not always correct, and it might be biased. It might even make mistakes, but there are a lot of biases as well. And for people that are working on those technologies and building AI systems, there are also a lot of things that can be done. we need to be more aware, and we need to focus on providing diverse data for the systems, because the system learns from the data. Sometimes it means that we need to enrich the data and have and add additional data in order to make it more diverse. We can also proactively look for biases in our product in various stages while working on a product and creating an AI product. It could be in the beginning when planning the product. We can ask what kind of biases we might have here. And later, once we have something working internally, we can test it and ask those questions again. We can do that manually by humans, and we can do that automatically as well. And that can help us find the biases before we ship a product to users. And another important aspect is the workforce, actually, diversifying the workforce, because today we have much more men in the software industry. More men are software engineers and build those AI systems. So once we'll have more women working in this arena, we'll eventually be more aware and have less biases, because we'll find those biases in our day-to-day.
Yeah, they're talking about, many researchers talking about that, the fact that more men are involved and women will be more affected by it. Also, once, the jobs of the women are going to disappear, and also less women in this field. So what can you say about that?
Yeah, so actually, there are a few really recent researches that also show that women are less likely to use AI as users, not only as AI creators.
Why? Why do you think that?
So it's an interesting question. First, let's start with the fact that those tools, the Gen AI tools like ChatGPT, are pretty new. It's been with us for about a year and a few months. So everything is pretty new. The data is also pretty new, but we already see some gaps around how men versus women use them. And the recent study shows that women are 37% less likely to use Gen AI tools in the work, for example. And today we know that these tools make us better employees, and we use them more and more. And if we know how to use them well and when to use them, we can create better results in our day-to-day, in our work. We can save a lot of time and then do extra things with this time. So it's really concerning that women are staying behind here. And this is definitely something that we need to change. So we need to do everything we can to make sure that women are trying the AI tools and using them and learning how to use them, and also encourage other women around us, girls, our mothers, our neighbors, to use the tools.
I think it's something we all should do in our daily life. Thank you very much, Shira. And now to you, Marta. Can you give me an overview of the work that you're involved with AI standards?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an interesting part of the world of standards development, and one that's been very extensive for almost all types of technology and industries. However, in comparison, quite new for the world of AI. We've been developing standards for AI internationally at ISO and IEC since around 2018. And we've been able to bring together a number of countries and their diverse stakeholders to the table to develop some of the beginnings of having those foundational standards in place for everything around governance to trustworthiness to also some of the validation methods and of course data, because a lot of what we need, of course, is also data governance to be able to then move into the actual governance of the AI system. Just as mentioned, it's very much the data that we are putting into the AI systems that's going to be influencing what comes out. So in my particular role as an AI expert participating in this, I participate through the Irish committee, and I participate particularly where it comes to governance, risk management, quality management, all leading towards just general organizational governance, because I think one of the key ideas with standardization and being able to use the framework of management system standards is the introduction of a wholesome and comprehensive view of an organization on how they're actually incorporating or developing their AI system to make sure that it's a mindset throughout the process, as opposed to it just being specifically towards the product focused.
Right, right. So you're actually leading the project, right, for ISO and IEC 42001.
Yes.
And can you tell me a bit more about the process and about the work? And I'm really curious why Microsoft would invest time and send you to lead this. What's the purpose? So if you can answer both things.
Sure. So ISO IEC 42001 is the AI management system standard. It just was published December 18th of
All right,
2023, so
congratulations.
very,
Yes.
very fresh.
Yes.
And it is getting a lot of attention because it's a certification, it's a certifiable standard. So it really brings us to that next step of being able to have third-party independent audits and be able to bring that into the world of AI. But we actually started this way, way earlier, and myself and a few other Canadians put it together in around 2019 was really when the conversation started. And at the time, it was really interesting because we got some questions of, is it too early, right? Are we technologically mature enough? And here we are, coming to the end of this cycle and having this document published, and it seems right in the middle of quite a number of conversations. At the time, I actually wasn't with Microsoft, and it was something really interesting that I could work on alongside my positions. But in particular, I think Microsoft is just one of the number of industry stakeholders that participates in standard development, particularly because it's part of the puzzle of being a technology developer as well as adopter. Because part of being able to have those discussions with diverse stakeholders, I know it's sometimes mentioned that they're industry-led, but there's an academic, a regulatory presence, civil society presence, particularly in ISO and IEC, where the ability to have those exchange of views, to be able to all contribute to the content of these documents makes it most useful at the end of the day for the users of these types of standards. And so being able to participate as one voice of a number of different industry perspectives, particularly in this space, which is really interesting because it's not just the horizontal domain big tech, but it's of course also the vertical industries, right? We have quite a lot of adoption in AI in transportation, in the medical device space, and being able to exchange those data and information on how would requirements and certification work in those different environments? What are some lessons learned? And being able to bring those to the table, I think, is really invaluable to be able to make sure that this type of document at the end of the day is useful.
Exactly, to the users. Now we are celebrating International Women's Day, so I want to ask you a question about that. Can you share your experience in participating in standards for AI? Because many years ago, when I started working for standardization and used to go to those large, big meetings, there were very few women. What's the situation today, and especially in AI?
Yes, so it is definitely reflective of participation and the gender balances in what we see in the workforce, what we see in universities. We still have, I started working in standards in a variety of different domains in med tech and in cybersecurity, privacy, and AI. And there is room for improvement. That for sure goes without saying. It's definitely something of attention. There are different diversity and inclusion initiatives that are still taking place, particularly at the higher level governance levels of ISO and IEC, as well as CEN-CENLEC, which is the European standardization organization that I participate in. However, when you're in the room, it's not infrequent that it is definitely a minority voice. And it's something really important, particularly to me, that looks at D&I initiatives within standards broadly speaking. And it's something that I really hope to encourage new standards experts to really include the diversity of voices that are being held in these rooms. As I've mentioned before, it's a direct correlation to the quality and result of these standards. We do have an initiative that has concluded, is now its implementation phase around gender inclusive language and standards. Because these are the types of perspectives that we need to make sure that we're including. And if a standard is being written without the right diversity, there needs to be at least the checks and balances that the language included is gender inclusive. But that being said, particularly in AI standards, I would say in comparison to some of the other committees that I've participated in, it is a better ratio. Which I mean, it's good, but it's not to say that there is definitely not room for growth there. As it grows as a committee, it is definitely growing from year to year in terms of number of experts. So I'm looking forward to be able to seeing more diverse faces.
Fantastic. I really want to thank both of you, Shira and Marta, for this inspiring discussion. I firmly believe that your words will inspire many women around the world and will contribute to breaking down gender barriers in this dynamic field.